Calvin Johnson. Grew up here in Oklahoma and attended medical school at the University of Oklahoma, and then did my orthopedic training in Oklahoma, which was a 5-year residency, and then did an extra year of training in sports medicine at Rush Presbyterian Hospital in Chicago, and that's the guys that take care of the Bulls and the Bears and the White Sox. Sure, I've been in practice since 1990, and my practice is focused on athletes for the last 18 years. And any good training program has a volume of work, whether that be weights or judo training or swimming or whatever. There's a specified amount of work, and then there's a specified amount of recovery, because you really don't improve while you're training or while you're working. You improve while you're resting and recovering. In this case, it's really under recovery. All athletes have a certain amount of stress associated with their sport, but their stresses with not getting enough sleep, stresses with social situations. We did a study up at UCO, and a lot of the wrestlers had a big increase in overtraining during finals. One of the wrestlers had a big increase in his cortisol levels when he broke up with his girlfriend. And so those are the different types of things that can lead to overtraining. So it's an actually too much volume of training or not enough recovery. The two biggest are just not sleeping well, waking up several times a night, only getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep, not getting that deep restful sleep is number one. And probably the most significant one to coaches and to the players, just decreased performance. Not competing as well, not having as good at times, or not producing, in their sport. You bet. The symptoms, frequent colds, frequent minor infections, to a certain degree, some skin infections if it's a contact sport like wrestling or judo. Resting heart rate in the morning. Normally, one of the ways we have our athletes test, kind of a cheap way of testing, is to do their resting heart rate every morning when they wake up. And normally that's going to be between 60 and 80 in a well-trained athlete. And in an overtrained athlete, they're going to commonly have a pulse rate over 80, sometimes 100. And so that would talk a little bit about maybe being chronically dehydrated, but actually the overtraining kind of turns on your engine, being your metabolism, and you just can't catch up. I think prevention is just knowing that overtraining's out there, and knowing that working harder isn't always the right answer. You have to have a certain skill set to do your sport, but you absolutely have to recover. You have to eat correctly. Basically, one of my colleagues has a real good presentation on eat to win, and you really do have to eat to win. In fact, one of the strength guys I work with says, if you don't eat breakfast, don't even go to the gym, because you're defeating the whole purpose of your training, because you're not putting gas in the car, and a lot of times with the stressful lives we live, you need to supplement your diet. You need to use. We've been associated with a supplement for the last 10 years. It's been used in the NBA very effectively, and it manages your cortisol levels, which go up in a stress situation, and it also allows an increased production of testosterone, which is basically what you need to build your muscles back up. In an overtraining situation, the stress hormone, which is cortisol, will go real high. And cortisol basically makes you catabolic, meaning that you're breaking down tissue. And a good example would be if you get hit in judo, you get kicked in the leg and you get a contusion. Well, that's catabolic to that muscle. And so the testosterone comes in, and there's other hormones, that come in and help. But basically, the testosterone helps repair that damage and helps make you anabolic. And that's the whole key, is if you're anabolic when you're training and when you're recovering, you're going to make very, very rapid gains in your strength and your quickness and in your performance.